Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's boardzy, and believe it or not, we are pretty much halfway through 2024, so I figured why not recap the best mice that have been released this year so far, really see what makes the cut, because I always make end of the year roundups on the top mice, but I figure why not split the year into two parts. And just a few things before I get into the list. I know I might seem very jaded by the Chinese budget mouse market, but honestly, this year so far, we've had a ton of like high quality top options released, so the mouse market, I would say, at the high end is doing pretty well. But yeah, I'm gonna get right into it with some honorable mentions, and I have here the VXE R1 Pro, Zowie U2, and the Ninjutsu Sora V2. The Sora V2, I would say, is the most interesting of the bunch because I actually only got a personal copy of this mouse yesterday. I was able to review the mouse because a unit was lent to me, but Ninjutsu like really had some trouble getting one sent to me. But yeah, I went a few months without having this mouse, and I really do understand it. Like, I gave it the seal of approval. It is one of the best lightweight options for under $100 out there. But yeah, like I mentioned, I've had this mouse for a day, and just the click quality is just, it's just no good. I don't know what else there is to say. The unit I had previously had pretty weak click quality, but I figured maybe a new batch it would be better. But just the amount of post travel, like a creaking feeling, and the side to side wobble, this click design, it's just like it needs a rework. I'm not saying that that is a complete deal breaker, but that Ninjutsu also doesn't have the 8K dongle that they promised on release, and it's like they've shown a picture of it, but they haven't released it. So it's just a very odd mouse. It's not something where I'm like, just throw your money at it. It's like one of the best options on the market. But if you do want a 40-gram mouse for claw grip at around the $100 price point, it's one of the only options. The $33.95 implementation with competitive mode on 1K is very good. And yeah, I mean, that's really that with the Sora. It's not something where I seem to love it as much as some other people do, I guess, with a bit smaller hands. But yeah, the VXE R1 Pro, this is a mouse that you can find for extremely cheap. When I was reviewing it, it was like $40 to $50, but I've seen it as low as like $27 on AliExpress. And this is closest to like the Pulsar X2 V2 medium shape. I mean, a lot of you guys have watched my review because this is just my top budget mouse recommendation, and I have used it over time. The quality, I would say there are just a few minor concerns. Like, I do just have a slight amount of side flex. I wonder if you can see it. I don't think you can. And the right click occasionally squeaks. And some people are asking me about the quality holding up, so maybe there are some minor concerns. But yeah, considering the price, really the shape, and the sub 50-gram weight, like, it's just still so much better than a lot of the other like mice coming out of China, in my opinion. And depending on the AliExpress store, like I said, you can get a really good deal on this. So yeah, this is a top budget mouse. I don't think it really competes with the Viper V3 Pro in terms of like premium mouse experience, but yeah, the VXE R1 Pro is really the only budget mouse I'm going to mention in this video probably. And yeah, the final honorable mention is the Zowie U2, and I haven't made a video on this, but in my streams I've just talked about it a lot. I just love this mouse's shape for claw grip. It's one of the most genius, like, innovative, unique shapes we've seen in so long. But just Zowie, I don't know what it is, but it seems people aren't willing to try it. Maybe it's just like people think Zowie's designs are antiquated, but it is around the 60-gram weight, so it is one of Zowie's lightest options. I just love using it. But yeah, honestly, a few things do keep me from maining it. One of them is probably just due to the fact this is a pre-production copy. But you can hear there's just like side flexing, popping, and it's like actually where I squeeze. So I've just been waiting for like a revised version of this mouse. I really hope like the Zowie comes out with a 3950 revision with some type of 4K, potentially 8K polling, because that's one thing that keeps me from using it, the polling rate and just the build quality. But yeah, honestly, like, this shape, as I've mentioned before, what makes it unique is the fact that your thumb and pinky have the potential to be so close together at the grip width, and the rest of the shape, it keeps me locked in a very unique way. The side button positioning, they're so large, just perfect for Fortnite. And yeah, this is a mouse that I'm like torn on because I don't think it gets enough love. I think it's underrated, but I also think like my copy definitely is not perfect, and I don't use it as my main for a reason. Also, the stock skates, changing those out to core pads was a huge game changer. So yeah, Zowie U2, I really like it. If they came out with a refresh version, it could potentially like be one of my mains. But yeah, that kind of segues to the next mice I'm going to mention, which come from Vaxee, which are essentially the modern to Zowie. I'm sure a lot of you guys know by now the original mouse engineers for Zowie pretty much left and formed Vaxee, and now they come out with a lot of mice, and there's just a lot of things that are adjacent to Zowie mice. Their latest release, which is actually using a 3950, has 4K polling, is the XES. Their entire lineup does have 4K. I don't want it to seem like I'm implying otherwise. And to put it simply, this shape is like a mini FK that is slightly modified, and that is, I mean, it's just the best way to put it. It's something that didn't click for me, especially being at a somewhat higher weight for a small feeling low profile mouse in hand. It's just not my style of mouse. I did not realize how many people just hate Vaxee because they don't have like a great warranty. They don't have international retailers, so like customs are an issue. So yeah, I mean, that was news to me. And yeah, as you can tell, I'm like not really recommending this far and wide, but I do feel like for some people they are perfect. And earlier this year, I'm sure a lot of you will remember, I had a phase where I was just in love with like the Vaxee NP01, and this is a mouse that is above 70 grams, but it's just so well balanced. It's a larger, bulky feeling mouse. It's, again, it's an experience that I understand. I was a lot more relaxed with this mouse. And there is a new Chinese mouse, the Incot G Hero, which is more or less a clone of it, but it's smaller, and people are like, it's lighter, it's so much better. It's smaller, it's like 8 grams lighter, and it's fucking poorly balanced. So I just like, I don't know, it does not feel, this does not beat the Vaxee experience in my opinion, but it is a much cheaper price. But it's not one of those clones that just kills the original product, or really comes close in my opinion. But yeah, with the NP01, the shape is either going to click for you or it's not. I believe they made some modifications compared to the original wired version that released all those years back. And one thing I just want to know about the shape, a lot of these mice that have these like thumb grooves that are either asymmetrical or ergo, they're only made for palm grip, but this one actually works very well with claw, and like some examples of that are like the Lamzu Thorn, this new shape from Extrafy. But yeah, this just flares out very comfortably, sits in my hand nice for claw, but if you do have small hands, I mean, maybe the MP01S would be better. But yeah, I figured Vaxee's lineup was worth mentioning. And yeah, now we have reached the top 3 best mice of the year, and I kind of just morphed WLmouse and Finalmouse into one because, I mean, honestly, the shapes are just clones. Yes, there are minor differences, like WLmouse's mini is smaller than the ULX Cheetah, and their max size is larger than the ULX large. The medium sizes are fucking damn near 1-to-1. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know when the next Finalmouse drop is, whereas like WLmouse has mice in stock at all times. And yeah, really, if you want a non-plastic, extremely lightweight option, I think these are some of the best options for you. The BeastX Max is available for $145 with a 3950. I think WLmouse recently announced like web-based software. So yeah, they really have improved a good amount from the original first batch I tried. I'm still not a huge fan of like the slits on the side. If they were able to come up with a better like side feeling solution, I think I would rate these mice even higher. But yeah, as of now, I prefer Finalmouse for like the small and the medium size, but I actually do think I prefer the BeastX Max over my experience with the ULX Tiger. But here's a fun fact. Like I said, the BeastX Mini is smaller than the ULX Cheetah, which is actually smaller than the original Finalmouse Ultralight 2. So if you felt the Finalmouse small shape was small back then, you should fucking try the BeastX Mini and just be like, wow, somebody should be shot for making a mouse this narrow. And yeah, honestly, I have been a Finalmouse shape fan for fingertip for many years now, pretty much as long as I have been reviewing. So WLmouse coming along, pretty much giving just more like minor in-between size options with the Finalmouse shape. I feel like it's a good thing. They're available for everybody. There aren't really any glaring issues. Yes, the customer support probably is not going to be on the same tier as it would be from like Razer, Logitech, etc. But yeah, that pretty much covers WLmouse/Finalmouse. And now the second to last mouse to mention in this video is the Endgame Gear OP18k. I mean, a wired mouse being on this list is just fucking shocking, unbelievable. For a wired mouse to even be used at all in the year 2024, it just has to be perfect. Which this pretty much is. And get past the hurdle of having to deal with a wire, which honestly, if you are on anything besides like an extremely low sense, if you use a bungee, it's going to be fine. I know some people with low sense probably use this and have no issues. But yeah, it is a flexible cable, which is pretty impressive considering that for 8K you need like adequate shielding. But yeah, one of the things advertised with this mouse is that it just has the lowest click latency on the entire market. This has been backed up by like 1,000 individual different XLAT tests. So So you're going to be getting that. They do have the Kill GX switches. You can also swap in any like mechanical switch you want, which is kind of insane. And I do believe I have the lighter actuation force variants of the GX switches in, and then I even have the speed mode, which makes the click latency even slightly lower by just activating the click at an earlier state in the press. But it's not like only the tech side of the mouse that is impressive. It is an extremely good shape for fingertip. I have claimed that this shape is narrow a lot of times. Many people seem to agree. Other people seem to be able to deal with it. So yeah, for me, claw grip, it's a little bit too narrow. If it was wider, maybe I should throw some fucking G-Wolves clay on it. But yeah, I can totally see people with medium, smaller hands, this shape really being perfect, and it only comes in at $75 for a peak performance 50-gram small mouse. Like, I don't know, it's really hard to knock on. The scroll wheel does have like a very generic cheap feeling to it. It doesn't cause me any issues in Fortnite, but I have seen some people complain. But I would say the majority of complaints I've seen have been with the scroll wheel. The click is on the lighter end for sure. The cable has a nice stress relief angle. And yeah, this is something that has stayed plugged into my PC just for the past few months. Like, it's just one of the mice that I constantly compare things to, and it's not something that just feels outdated or bad in any way. The sensor experience is pretty much going to be as good as your PC allows. Like, I see some people tell me, like, I'm trying to use this mouse, but I stutter with 2K hertz in Fortnite. Like, that means you probably don't have the best of the best system. But also, like, using this mouse on 1K, I think they even sell a 1K version. Like, you could just go for that. But yeah, I mean, that's all. I would recommend watching my original review of the OP18k, and they do have a wireless version, I believe 8K as well, dropping in the summer or like a month or so. But yeah, that's going to be close to 60 grams, so I don't know. I think this will stay the budget like recommendation, and for $75, this is the second cheapest mouse in this video besides the R1 Pro. So, I mean, it's just worth considering. And now, number one, this really isn't going to be too long, the Viper V3 Pro. The mouse just speaks for itself. I have not chilled a mouse this hard in a long time, and pretty much this mouse has been out for 2 months. I've had my copies for over 2 months at this point, and it's just like, I don't know, I don't have any complaints. It has not deteriorated quality-wise whatsoever. It's such a standard mouse. It's kind of like killed the rest of the mouse market for me. I just don't want to use anything else. And yeah, I know this mouse has its detractors for whatever reason, but I mean, people hated on Jesus, people hated the GPX. Like, ultimately, sometimes the truth is just that it's a very good product that is ahead of the rest of the market, which I never really thought would happen again after the OG GPX. But for me, just like, there's no other like medium to large claw grip mouse that just feels as good, as consistent, and is something that I just want to use over everything else. So I feel like that kind of speaks for itself. I've made a ton of content on this mouse, and yeah, just to like give you guys an update on the quality, like the build quality is still rock solid, which I honestly, by now, I kind of felt like there was going to be something, like if it was going to go to shit. And yeah, click quality, it doesn't feel like, if they had Omron opticals, it could potentially be like a nicer sounding click, but I think performance wise, these clicks are still extremely good. And whatever like sensor issue people have on Reddit, like, I just doesn't fucking exist on my copies. It may have gotten patched through a firmware update though. But yeah, Viper V3 Pro is still my top recommendation, easily the mouse of the year so far, and I don't think anything will beat it in the second half of the year, but I have been wrong before. Thinking is the first step to being wrong. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. There are a ton of good options that I've released so far this year, and there are obviously plenty more to come. Coming up next, probably a review of these new Xtrify mice, a full review of the G-Wolves HTR, and probably some others. But yeah, if you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more mouse reviews in the future. Peace out.